About today for June 2025 Social Security Medicare updates. We're going to talk about retirement survivor benefits, what's going on there, data breach there, the overpayments, all kinds of new rules and regulations, Medicare letters, all kinds of stuff. This is also a live Q&A as well. I'll go down this list here as quickly as possible. That way we can get to as many questions. Looks like you already got a bunch of questions on survivor benefits, retirement benefits, SSDI. So we'll get to as many as those as we can within our hour that we are here today. If you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe and share and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so the change for overpayments. So now is the time. A lot of people are getting overpayment letters. Their fault, not their fault. I have no idea why you're getting an overpayment letter. Now is the time. A lot of people are getting those letters, predominantly because of the end of tax season, and Social Security has your amount from last year. So if you're early retirement and they have some that you work, then you're getting overpayment letter. If you're receiving disability benefits and you work, then Social Security finds out during tax season, and then you get the overpayment letters. The current administration that's in charge of Social Security, the Doge guys in charge of Social Security, they changed it from 10% to 100% withholding. So if you got an overpayment letter, you would get an automatic 100% withholding. They changed it again back to 50, well, not back to 50, to 50%. So if you get an overpayment letter that you need to address, it's automatically 50% being withheld from your Social Security check. So it's important that you get that addressed. And I've got a new resource to help you on all of this. Check out this is also, I'll get the schedule of payments here in a bit. But this is a new resource. It's my new website. It's been live for a few days now. It's mygovexpert.com, and you can go there and get questions about retirement benefits, when to file. Got a nice little calculator. This is all free of charge. You don't have to subscribe or pay anything. You use all this. It's all yours. Use it. Live it, love it, hopefully. But in terms of overpayments, I'm doing a bunch of other stuff. I'm adding to this website pretty much every day. It's basically like SSA.gov, but in English. So it's I think it's 100 times easier to understand. If you're new to my channel, I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and I've helped millions of people with all of these issues. So I know how to explain it in a better way than all the legalese on Social Security website. So, all right. So I'm adding to this on a regular basis. I've got some other stuff coming up, living on Social Security alone, community resources. But I just added yesterday, a couple of days ago, the section on overpayment. So if you get an overpayment, this is where you can go to get kind of an explanation of what the overpayment is. How do you address an overpayment, your appeal rights, the forms you need, common questions. And if you have anything that I haven't addressed there, if something is not explained, in terms that you can understand, then make sure you go to the home there, go down to the take action there and provide the little feedback and say, hey, Ed, on the overpayment thing, you forgot to mention this, or I don't understand this. And if you want to throw a couple of bucks to support us, we really do appreciate it. You can subscribe if you want. If you don't want to, then more power to you. But you can use this. It's completely free, and it's being updated on a regular basis. And I'm going to be adding more and more and more and more to it. Okay, so that's the overpayment. So the important thing on overpayments is if you get an overpayment, you have to address it. Don't ignore it. Don't, say, well, if I put it in the bottom drawer, it'll go away eventually. No, it won't. The Social Security follows up on overpayments for decades. I've had situations where people 40 years later, they had an overpayment on in their record they had to address. So overpayments, you just need to address them, and don't worry about them. Just check out my website there, and it'll tell you all the steps you need to go through. All right, so a lot of people always want me to talk about the benefit payments. So for June, luckily, we just got over, well, I'm sure there's for May. So this is getting toward the end of May here. And you're going to see a lot of social media BS out there, clickbait about 2 checks in May. And basically what it is is because June the 1st, some people get paid on the 1st, falls on a Sunday. And because of that, they're going to pay June check in May. So you see the little the brown circle there. In May, those people get 2 checks, but they don't get an extra check. They just get their June check a few days early. But social media land out there takes advantage of this, and they publicize and they do all kinds of TikToks and YouTubes and stuff. And, oh, are you going to get 2 checks in May? Click here to find out. It's just, yeah, it's all BS. So I wish people had stopped doing that. So it's basically just a few days earlier. Okay, so for June, and it has a little thing down here. It tells you exactly supplemental security income. That's usually paid on the first part of the month. And then if you've been receiving benefits for a long time, it's kind of grandfathered into the old system. If you're new to Social Security benefits, if you file for benefits, there is also a spike of people retiring. I just talked about this, was it yesterday, day before yesterday, about this giant spike. People are kind of paranoid and stressed about the whole Social Security system and the future of Social Security. And that, people out there are saying it's a Ponzi scheme and the greatest scam in U.S. history and all this kind of stuff. So people are kind of want to go ahead and pull the trigger and start their benefits. If you start your benefits, let's say you were born on May 25th. So if you start your benefits in May, you're going to get your check the 4th Wednesday in June, because Social Security always pays a month late. So the May check comes in June, the June check comes in July check comes in August. Why do they do that? Well, so they can catch it at the end, because we all inevitably have an end where we shuffle off our modal coil. And so that's where they stop the benefits at the end there. And why the 4th Wednesday? Because if you were born in the first 10 days of the month, you get your check on the 2nd Wednesday. You're born in the second 10 days of the month, you get it on the 3rd Wednesday. If you're born at the last part of the month, you get your check on the 4th Wednesday of the month. So that's how the kind of payments work. So this large retirement spike, 11,000 people are turning 65 every single day. Yeah, the gray tsunami, the silver tsunami. Yes, Helen, the silver tsunami. Not the good one. Well, I guess it is a good one. Once you reach 65 years old, every day above ground is a good day, right? Hate getting old, but the alternative to getting old is far, far worse. So 11,000 people are turning 65 every day, but that's the key to that is people think that because they're turning 65, they have to get Medicare, and you do not have to get Medicare at 65 if you currently have health insurance from work. Current work, yours or your spouse's, and your employer group health plan has 20 or more employees. So if you have that, you don't necessarily need to get Medicare. And I've on my website, I've got a separate section on Medicare there where you can go in there. I'm still working on the video there. I'll pop up that video here soon. But the enrollment periods, it'll tell you what the enrollment period is 3 months before, 3 months after. So you got like 7 months there. And if you need help enrolling, I've got a partner chapter Medicare. They can help you out enrolling. But you need to find out the difference between Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage and all that kind of good stuff. So anyway. All right, let's go down the list. Digital Social Security cards. They just announced that instead of the old paper flimsy Social Security cards, by summer or so, they are going to do digital Social Security cards. A lot of people, I talked about this before, and a lot of people are freaked out that, oh, more stuff online. Well, your Social Security number has always been kind of, out there. There was a massive data breach, but this, knock on wood, it's not Social Security. So anytime up until now, you've heard about your Social Security number and whatever getting out into the dark web or anything like that, it was never from Social Security. It was never from the Social Security Administration. Decades ago, we as an American people decided to use our Social Security number for everything else other than Social Security, for credit, to buy a car, to buy a house, to get a job. Get a job is good because you need to pay, FICA taxes, anything. But everybody uses your Social Security number. They never should have, but they did. And so health, you got hospitals, you got credit reporting agencies, you've got big, box retailers. that they lose that information all the time, and your credit card number and your date of birth and your name and your social security number are exposed out there. So that's how these big data breaches happen so far. So a knock on wood there, but Social Security hasn't had one of those. We're not sure what Doge has done. I guess we'll find out with all their laptops and Social Security, and these kids running around with all that information. So hopefully they didn't leave it in the back of their car. And anyway, but in terms of Social Security, people used to come up to my office all the time and say, "Hey, my Social Security number was, somebody used it, yada yada yada." In terms of Social Security doesn't care. I mean, they do, but they can't do anything 99% of the time, because when people used to come up to Social Security and say, "Hey, someone bought a car and in my name," well, that's a credit issue. It has nothing to do with Social Security. The only time Social Security gets involved in something like that is if someone takes your Social Security number and works under your Social Security number, and then they actually pay into your Social Security account. And you're like, "Oh, that's great. Then my benefit amount will go up." Yes, it will, until it doesn't, until they catch it, until they catch that person 5, 10, 20 years down the line. And they say, the guy, confesses and says, "Yeah, I've been working on this guy's Social Security number for the past year, 10 years. And that person is retired and he's been taking a benefit of that increased benefit amount. And guess what? It wasn't yours." And then they take those earnings out. And then you go back to number one there. Where's number one? Number one there. Overpayment. You get an overpayment because that wasn't your earnings. So you need to check. Go into My Social Security My Social Security, SSA.gov. Set up a My Social Security account and check every now and then to make sure nobody's using your information. You'll only see something like that once a year, once that person does the taxes at the end of the year. So yeah, but all the other stuff about buying a car or a boat in your name and stuff like that, that's credit reporting. Social Security has nothing to do with that. You need to contact the credit reporting agencies, the Federal Trade Commission and stuff like that. So, all right. In terms of Medicare letters, so Medicare letters should be going out here in June or July. So this is a brand new thing, particularly if, almost exclusively if you have a Medicare Advantage plan. So with these Medicare Advantage plans, one of the things they try to get you to enroll in their plan versus some other company's plan is they give you all these extra bells and whistles. Well, Medicare has been noticing for the last few years, people don't use those extra bells and whistles. The gym membership, well, maybe on January 1st we use it, but other than that, we stop using it. But anyway, dental, vision, transportation, and all that kind of stuff. So Medicare came down, the government came down and says, "Hey, companies, you entice these people to enroll in your plans by giving these extra benefits, but they don't use it. Why? Are you making it too difficult for them to access? Are they crappy benefits once they look at the deal? Do they not know about it?" So in order to address maybe people just don't know about it, expect a letter from your Medicare insurance company that says, "Hey, by the way, you've got $2,000 of dental and you've used zero of it. We're just kind of giving you a heads up. You got $2,000 of dental." So watch out for those letters. And that's going to be a massive amount of letters going out here soon. So my audience, I think y'all need to get ahead of the curve and reach out to your companies. You can reach out to Chapter. If you're a Chapter, if you signed up through Chapter, they have a great member success team. You can reach out to them as well and say, "Hey, what other kind of benefits does my plan have?" And they'll help you take advantage of those extra benefits. I would probably do all of that sooner before the letters go out, because once those letters go out, then everybody's going to, going to see the dentist and calling and stuff. So y'all have a heads up on that. Okay. Another thing out there in social media land that's going crazy. I did a video on this as well. I tried to clear the air on it. The $4,000 Social Security stimulus. It ain't a $4,000 stimulus. It's just basically a proposal in the current tax plan that they're thinking about passing to do a deduction. So if and it's not for low income people, because most low income people on Social Security don't even pay taxes. So a $4,000 deduction is not going to benefit you at all. If you make $100,000 and you get a $4,000 deduction, if you're paying 12%, you'll save $480. So someone making $100,000, getting a $4,000 deduction will save $480 a year. So so people in social media kind of manipulate $4,000. $4,000 Social Security, and put one and one together and you get 47. So more social media stuff out there. It hasn't passed, and even if it does, the people that really need that $4,000, you're not even in the same ballpark. No relevance, because most people on Social Security alone don't pay Social Security, don't pay taxes, and they definitely don't pay taxes on their Social Security benefits. Another proposal that actually didn't make it into the tax bill was no taxes on Social Security benefits. Half of the people that receive Social Security don't even pay taxes on Social Security benefits, so it doesn't help the lower. Okay, so that's definitely doesn't look like it's going to be included in there at all, unless they add it back in the last minute. But don't see that happening if it hasn't happened already. All right, let's go ahead and get into your questions. So make sure you type your questions in there, and we'll get to as many as we possibly can. Deborah, I'm 67, 2030, May, but my date for retirement age is June 2030. Can I sign up in May 2030? Wow, you've got you're preparing. Wow, you're preparing 5 years, or about 3 or 4 months before once you start your benefits, then that's perfect time. Amy, I'm on SS, but during this time, while you're waiting for this 5 years, or go into SSA.gov, set up a My Social Security account, check your earnings record, because that's how they're going to determine how much you make for the rest of your life, is based on how much you paid into Social Security, your high 35 years. So if those numbers are wrong, you're getting the wrong check forever. So it's important. Everybody out there, check your earnings record. Tell your friends and family and children and nieces and nephews to check their earnings record, because if you find something incorrect, it's very difficult, if not possible, to fix it 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later. So, Amy, I'm on SSDI. I was automatically switched to Medicare D as a disabled federal government employee. My FEHB are better than Medicare D. I have faxed the contact to switch off Medicare. Will I owe dollars? So staffing at Social Security was low before Doge came in, and now it's even worse. So if they have someone in that office to address it, they will address it, and they will take whatever date your letter says. So if your letter says you wrote it and send it in January 15th, and now it's May or June, and they don't get till May and June, they're supposed to make it proactive until January. So whatever you do with that. All right, let's see. My niece is on SSDI. She is 41. Her mother helped her apply for SSDI when she was 22 and 11 months. Her mother has just passed away in April. Is there any way she could get survivor benefits? Absolutely. So she's on SSDI. So, okay, it really depends. But she is on since she was 41. So was she determined to be a disabled adult child? Is she on SSDI on her own record or her mother's record? If she's on SSDI on her mother's record, what's called a disabled adult child, I've got more explanation here of what a disabled adult child is on the family section here. So child benefits, disabled adult child. But if she is a disabled adult child on her mother's record, then it's automatic because she's already on the record. She's as a living beneficiary off that record, get 50%, up to 50%. As a survivor, you get up to 75%. If she's the only one on the record, then 75%. But that's automatic. That is automatic. If it hasn't happened, if the check hasn't increased from 50 to 75%, then it doesn't sound like she is on as a disabled adult child. Looks like she's just getting benefits on her own record. So, but you could always, she was on 22 and 11 months. So it really depends. It has to be disabled adult child, has to be disabled before the age of 22. So the timeline. I would reach out to Social Security and find out about that and say, hey, number one, did my benefit increase did her benefit increase from 50 to 75%? Why not? And is it too late to file for disabled adult child benefits? I would definitely go that route. When you have my Social Security online account, there is a choice to receive emails or letters. If you choose email, do all notices really are sent that way? A lot of them. And this is a brand new system that they're trying to save money on. This has been in the works for a long time, paperless system. When I worked at Social Security, I actually designed one of the paperless systems. So it's a good system, but they're rolling it out step by step. So some letters they do, and some letters they send old snail mail. So it really depends on what type of letter we're looking at. I think for COLA type stuff, those are standardized. So I think those are definitely go by email. So. Viha was here yesterday, and I think we answered all your questions yesterday, but it looks like you got another one. No problem. All right. I'm switching for Survivor to my own Social Security online. Do I say start my benefits my birthday month or the month after? Your birthday month, because you stop collecting your delayed retirement credits because you're 70 years old. You stop accumulating your delayed retirement credits the month you turn 70. So the month you turn 70, it doesn't have to be like, 62 where you have to be 62 the entire month. The month you turn 70, that's when you start it. So Juan, I was born in March of 1959. I would like to know, when is my full retirement age? I already applied for Social Security benefits. I work. Well, guess what, Juan, you are in luck. You go to my website there and you click on when to start. So this is the, there we go. So there's a little calculation, does a benefit analysis of if you start at 62 versus your full retirement age and 70. It gives you a nice little chart and makes it easy to figure out. But this is your full retirement age. So what did you say, Juan? You're March, let's say on the 3rd of, what'd you say, 1959, calculate your full retirement age. Your full retirement age is 66 and 10 months, which is February of 2026. So, and this is all 100% free. So check out that calculator if you need to know exactly when that is. All right. Pink Owl, what's up? Bonnie, hello. How we doing? Bella, what's up, everybody? Let's see here. For former federal employee receiving disability annuity age 58. So a disability annuity, if you are receiving disability from the federal government, OPM or something, they usually mandate, and depending on your agency, I guess, you file for Social Security benefits. So you should have done that at the same time. Handsome Harry, where is the shortfall in Social Security if it brings in 1.1 trillion but pays out 1.2 trillion? Where's the shortfall? There you go. You did your own math. If it brings in 1.1 trillion dollars every year and it pays out 1.2 trillion, there's the shortfall. $100 billion. And what covers the shortfall? The Social Security Trust Fund. But that is being depleted every single day. So, William, thank you, Dr. Ed, for providing value and service. Will your website eventually have search functionality added to it? Yes. Yes. And even more. Yes. Search functionality is so 2024. It's going to be even 10 times better. I'm getting all the content in there now, and then, just wait. It's going to be awesome. So, sending all the positive vibes to you, Ed. Thank you, Bev. I appreciate it. I can use all the positive vibes and hair, and I'll go hair positive vibes later. So, retiring from regular job May 30th, collecting Social Security June 1st. Do I have to send in documents to Social Security to show side gigs I was paid for in May, so they aren't counted as income after retire? No. When you file for benefits starting June, they just say, hey, are you going to make over $23,400 this year? And if you say, yeah, I made $1 billion up until now. And then they'll say, oh, okay, we don't care. Starting June, are you going to stay under $1,950 in gross wages or net income for your business? And if you say, yes, I'll stay under the $1,950 for the rest of the year. And they'll say, okay, all right, you're good. You don't have to show them anything. If later next year, it turns out that wasn't the fact, then they'll reach out to you and say, hey, what's going on? You told us X, Y, and Z. So, and then on my website, it also has that where you can, it looks like this is a popular one. I see a lot of people using this calculator, working in benefits, calculate your earnings impact on benefits. So this seems to be a popular one there. So you can do it right there. If you go over the annual earnings limit, it shows you what the monthly earnings limit is and everything. It tells you what income counts, what it doesn't count, and everything like that. So definitely use that. I think it's the only calculator like it out there. So check it out, share it, all that kind of good stuff. Daryl, I'm in the process of getting divorced. I've only been married to my wife almost 9.5 years. Can she draw on my Social Security benefits after I pass away, even though she's married to another man? No, because you're not married 10 years. Have to be married 10 years. Unless you're married to the person when they pass away. If you're married to the person when they pass away, you only had to be married for 9 months. There are a couple exceptions there, but no. If y'all didn't make it to the 10 years, then she gets nothing. And you get nothing on her record, if that applies. Lady Rochelle, thank you. $4.99. Thank you. Got my coffee IV for the day. Appreciate it. Evangelist Marvel Law. Hi, does inheritance affect Social Security benefits? And number 2, does Social Security Ticket to Work program honor new startup business? Thanks. So inheritance, the only way it affects Social Security if it's SSI, Supplemental Security Income, which is the welfare and needs-based program Social Security administers. But if you're on regular Social Security disability benefits, inheritance, no relevance whatsoever. Social Security retirement benefits, no relevance. Social Security survivor benefits, no relevance because it's not earned income. Okay. Number 2 question, does Social Security Ticket to Work program honor new startup business? Yeah. They actually, Ticket to Work. I've got the website on that. I've got a big long spreadsheet or a kind of a fact sheet on work incentives. And I got calculators on the disability part. But with a business, it's kind of net income, but it's also how many hours you work, because people that own their own business know they can work 100 hours a week and still make no money. So with self-employment, a little bit different hoops you have to jump through in terms of Social Security disability benefits. But yeah, business is fine. Yep, absolutely. Anthony, thank you for your expertise. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Working while getting SSI, SSDI. Yes, you can work. A lot of people don't realize that, and they're making their lives so much more difficult. So working in benefits, I've got a big, long, so you click on that and it gets into trial work period, the extended period of eligibility, Medicare, all that kind of different stuff. And then I've also got a Social Security disability and calculator. So it tells you what the thresholds are, trial work period, the substantial gainful activity, and then you put in your information there and it tells you what's going on. So it makes your life easier. That's the biggest thing. People get overpaid. People ask me how do people get overpaid? Well, they don't report their earnings, and Social Security doesn't get it until the IRS tells them the next year. So the biggest overpayments are always people that are working and collecting Social Security. Again, you can work limited up to substantial gainful activity or trial work period because Social Security and everybody wants you to go back to work. It's good for you. You make more money. It's good for you, pay taxes. Everybody likes when you pay taxes. It helps the trust fund because no money is going out of the trust fund. So yes, Social Security gives you all those work incentives to actually go out there and see if you can work. But if you can't, then at least you tried. How can I find out if I'm due more money from my surviving spouse benefits? Call up Social Security and give them the information. You don't need to know all the details. Just give them a person's name, their age, date of birth, if you know it, where they were born in the country, city, state, and the Social Security employee will be able to find it. I've never, ever not been able to find a Social Security number with minimum amount of information. So they will find the Social Security number if you don't have it. And they'll look at the record and see how much that person's benefit amount, their PIA, their primary insurance amount, the basic amount there. And they'll look at your record and they'll see if there's any money for you there and whether you're eligible. You have to be 60 years old. If it was a divorce, you had to be married to the person for 10 years or longer. So all the rest of it. Bev, I'll be 2 years divorced in December. I know I have to wait 2 years to get the extra money from my ex's Social Security. If I wait until January 2026, will I get even extra because of the COLA that starts in January? Yep, everybody gets the COLA. So whenever the Department of Labor comes out with the COLA numbers, they automatically multiply it by the 70 million people receiving. So what Bev is talking about is called independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. It's a mouthful. So you go into the family there, and it's independent divorced. If you're a divorced spouse, you don't have to have the 2 years divorce. Divorced spouse, as long as you were married to the person for 10 years, you're good. Independent means that that ex-spouse hasn't filed for benefits yet, but they're at least 62 years old. They're eligible, they just haven't filed for benefit. And so the one thing is you have to be finally married, divorced from that person for 2 years. So that's what Bev is talking about there. So, and a lot of people miss that, and Social Security employees miss that. So that's why I put the reference up there. And that way, when you go to the Social Security Administration and you talk to the people at the front windows, you know, you show them this, because a lot of them don't know it. So you show them this policy, and that way you can get your money. So Bev, yeah, when you go file for that, make sure you take that reference down there. So, let's see. Just got notification of approval for Social Security. Applied in February. Wow, that's well, unless you applied for disability. If you applied for disability, then that's pretty good. That's pretty quick. But if you applied for anything else, then yeah, that's not good at all. And that's another thing Doge, who's in charge of Social Security, recently changed, is they were saying there's so much fraud, on people calling up and taking their, applying for benefits over the phone. There's so much fraud. So that's why they decided to make everybody go into the office, and then they changed their mind, and they changed their mind again. And they changed their mind again yesterday. They said, and as I said at this time, no, there's not a lot of fraud on Social Security claims, retirement claims, survivor benefits over the phone, because we ask them so many questions. Well, before I'm retired, but anyway. And I said that at the time. No, that's not where the fraud is. There's fraud at Social Security, but it's in other places. So Doge keeps looking at the wrong places. And I said, hey, no, there's not a lot of fraud there. And guess what? They did their analysis. Out of 110,000 cases, they found 2 suspicious. 2 out of 110,000. So it wasn't even fraud. It was just, oh, these are kind of strange. Yeah. So, and because of that, that's why another reason why there's so much delay, because they've fired so many people, or not fired. Self-inflicted wounds, I guess. Forced felt self-inflicted. So yeah, and that's why the delay is happening. I'm 69. My wife is 67. Her PIA is less than half of my PIA. Is it better for her to wait until 70 or file now? Completely, up to y'all. It depends on whether you need the money, healthy, longevity in your family, taxes, all the rest of it. So if her PIA is less than half of yours, then what will happen is she files for benefits on her record whenever y'all want to. If you're receiving benefits at that time, then she files for a spouse claim on yours. If you're not receiving benefits, then she just goes ahead and files for benefits on her own records, get that money started. And then when you file later, if you're you're the higher wage earner, then she files a spouse claim at that time. That's called a split strategy, what a lot of people use. So, does your ID.me account tied to the Social Security account? Yes. That's one of the ways the new ways they just started within the last year or so of getting you in and protecting the system and everything. So I think it's a good system. It's a nightmare, but there's a reason it's difficult. So why do we have so many rules, but politicians don't? Yeah. And the politicians made these. The Social Security has 20,000 pages of rules, and politicians, they're terrible at writing laws, even though Congress is, that's their job, legislative branch. They legislate laws, make laws, but they suck at it. Like the Social Security Fairness Act, that got rid of the windfall elimination provision, the government pension offset. That was 2 sentences, basically. Yeah. So Social Security had to, so Congress, anyway. How does SSDI figure out my payment based on what you paid into Social Security? all those decades you worked and paid into Social Security, that's how they determine how much your benefit amount is. And then they take it and then they average it. Say, for instance, if it's like a retirement, 35 years, they take the high 35 years, they index it for a wage index. So they index it. And then they give the average monthly earnings. So it's called the AMI, averaged index monthly earnings. And then they multiply it by these bin points, 90%, 32%, 15% bin points. And see, simple, right? I'm coming up with a calculator like that. And, but that's, yeah. So I think it was working, but I didn't, yeah, I'm checking a few things. So hopefully the calculator, I get done here soon. So I'm 70 and I get nothing but my money on Direct Express. Okay. Yeah, make sure you check out in my YouTube description. It has so go to my YouTube this video and go to the description, and it has living on Social Security alone, and then a link there to a YouTube video I did on living on Social Security alone, and it goes through about 50 different programs. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, a pen, and a piece of paper, and watch the video and take little notes and say, oh, that might make my life easier. Oh, that might make my life easier. So hopefully something in there gets you set up. But if you have Direct Express, if you're happy with it, so Direct Express is a kind of a credit card debit type of system. Some people can't get a bank account for whatever reason. So rather than doing a check in the mail, they set you up with this Direct Express. But historically, Direct Express customer service has been kind of difficult. But if you're good with Direct Express, then perfect. If not, another way is to go, if you've had it for a while and there's no issues, go to a bank and tell them, hey, I want to set up a bank account. I know I had issues in the past, but this is for federal benefits. Sometimes they'll open it up, because you're just going to be depositing federal benefits in there. And that way you've got a local bank and, maybe better customer service. So if you are 68 and have Medicare, then can you get cheaper insurance than Medicare? Can you get other cheaper insurance? Possibly, but you still have to, get Medicare. If you don't and you change your mind later, then yeah, you're going to have to pay a penalty. Joseph, a lot of SSI people on YouTube channel, they said you don't know what you were saying. A lot of BS, but SSI, disability, Medicaid, and Medicare. Okay, all right. So yeah, tell them to come on over here and give me specific examples. Absolutely, a lot of SSI people. So that's kind of indication that SSI people. Are we talking about really supplemental security income? But then you said Medicare. If you're receiving SSI, you're not eligible for Medicare. So I think that sentence. Not sure you know what you're talking about. So there's that. Signed up for Part B, got a supplemental policy paid first month, then got notification it's going to up next month $30. That sucks. Yeah, this is about the time they do the Medicare supplement plans, Plan N or Plan G. This is about the time they do year over year increases. And yeah, I really wish they would do it in October, that way, you can, kick around other options. But yeah, they do it in the middle of the year. So yeah. Thank you for the information, Penelope. Oh, is Penelope on? I didn't see Penelope, but she is always on here answering questions, and she is always 100% correct. So if Penelope says it, you can take it to the bank. So, let's see. Why have I been receiving my benefit payments on Wednesdays, and yet now I am receiving the payments on Tuesdays? Yeah, just the way the direct deposit, the Department of Treasury, puts it in there, and sometimes it becomes effective the day before. So even when I was in the Marine Corps or the military, you get paid on whatever day. Sometimes it's available 1 or 2 days early. So that's just the way it is. So it's a beautiful thing, right? Oh, Park, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. You're too awesome. If I marry a 40-year-old lady overseas who has a small child, or if I have a child with her, will she and the child qualify for retirement survivor benefits? I've heard that she needs to live in the United States first to qualify. It really depends on the particular country. Some countries, yes, because they have what's called a totalization agreement, and it depends on whether the person's receiving. If it's your child, then it's your child, you're an American citizen, then the child becomes an American citizen if you register and everything right. U.S. citizen born abroad type of situation. So it really depends on a lot of situations and exactly whether the child's a U.S. citizen. If the child's a U.S. citizen, you're receiving retirement benefits or disability benefits. Any children of eligible citizens, green card holders, are eligible for benefits on their parents' record if they're under the age of 18 or became disabled before the age of 22. In terms of your wife, new wife, it really depends whether it's spouse benefits or surviving spouse benefits, and it depends on the totalization agreement what the United States has with that particular country. All countries are a little bit different. So the best way to find out what's going on with your particular country is contact the U.S. consulate or embassy in that country, and then ask them. Park, possibly South Korea. There's a girl a lady in the American embassy in South Korea in Seoul that actually worked in my office. So if you happen to talk to her, then she knows everything about Social Security. So she will definitely be able to help you out. So I'm just guesstimating here based on the name. So let's see here. Okay. Does this mean we will be able to create accounts for our children to access their new digital cards? You're able to create an account. I'm not sure about the digital cards for children. This is a new thing. It's not coming out till summer. They're probably just going to make it to what's called the number holder, the initial person. But not sure whether they're going to extend it to children. Stephen, as far as I know, I have got my Social Security payment on the 3rd of the month, unless the 3rd falls on a Saturday. Saturday was on board 18th of the month. Thanks for take care. Yeah. A lot of people that were born or started receiving benefits before 1997 are under the old system. So Beverly, Social Security said I'm not qualified because I already received Social Security from my husband's Social Security he paid into it. I received refusal letter and get pension from his municipal employment of 28 years. So they said you're not qualified. All right, here's a mistake that happens quite often is, I'm not sure if this is your particular case, but so you called Social Security and you wanted to see if you're entitled to spouse benefits on your current spouse or previous spouse, doesn't matter. And they look at the numbers because, you had to be eligible in terms of, marriage and length of marriage and all that kind of stuff. But we're just talking about the numbers. Your benefit amount has to be less than half of that person's full benefit amount. Your full benefit amount has to be less than half of theirs. And then you get the difference between the two. Okay. Say, let's say, for instance, you call them up and they say, yeah, you're not qualified. You're denied. Not because of the length of marriage or anything like that. It's just because your benefit amount is not less than half. So yes, you're not eligible. But a lot of people take that letter and they think, okay, I'm not eligible, period, end of story, done for the rest of my life. That's not the case. There's so many people out there walking around that are eligible for more money, need that extra money, and they're not getting it because they think that. Because what can happen, maybe your spouse, your ex-spouse continues to work, pays more into Social Security, their benefit goes up, and now guess what? You are eligible. Or what usually happens is if your spouse or your ex-spouse passes away, it's no longer the 50% thing. One has to be less than 50% of the other, or 50%. Yeah. Anyway, it's no longer that. One day you're not eligible because your benefit amount is not less than half. And then when the person passes away, that doesn't matter anymore. It's, would your ex-spouse's benefit $1 more than yours? If you're eligible for that one extra dollar, if you're receiving 1,000 and they were receiving 1,001, you're eligible for that extra dollar if you're a full retirement age and all that stuff. So there's a lot of people out there that are missing those survivor benefits because they got that letter one time in their life and they thought that was it, no more. So reach out to all those people, the little old lady down the street and all that, and go have a cup of coffee and say, weren't you receiving benefits? Oh yeah, I was denied. Situations change. So let's go out there and help as many people as we can. Like Alex here, helping a neighbor lady. There we go. Alex is our hero of the day. What does she need to do if her Social Security number is illegally used to work? She is retired only income. What step does she need to do to tell Social Security to remove that earned income? Call only. Absolutely. So number one, good. So she's checked her earnings record and she saw that, someone was working at Popeyes in Topeka, Kansas, and she lives in Homestead, Florida. And it's like, I definitely wasn't working at Popeyes in Topeka. So she calls up Social Security and tells them that. And they should be able to do it over the phone. And you just say, hey, those are not my earnings. And they will take those out and then they will put it in what's called a suspense file. And the suspense file just hangs out there until someone, maybe they missed the Popeyes in Topeka, Kansas, typed the Social Security number wrong. Instead of the 1-2 at the end, they type 2-1, and that's how, maybe something bad, but it might just be a typo. But she caught this hopefully early. If her benefit amount was recalculated and increased because of those earnings, if she got a letter within the last, year or 2 years, or however long she's, been receiving those, and she got a letter and says, hey, since you worked last year, we've increased your benefits by $10. And she got that for a year, then guess what? She has $120 overpayment. So, and then you go to my overpayment thing and you help her file for the overpayment waiver and, set up a payment plan, $5 a month or something like that, $10 a month or something. So, please click like because Dr. Ed is sharing his life savings. Yes, please. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. My dual complete is awesome. I just got lots of over the counter and groceries today. Yeah. That is probably those, particularly the dual complete, Medicare Advantage dual complete, those extra grocery cards, food allowance, all that kind of stuff. That is probably one of the most scammy advertisements out there, but it's true. What do I mean by that? It's what these Medicare insurance agents and companies do. They take the best of those in the country. So let's say in Paris, Texas, there's one, I'm just example here. Let's say there's one in Paris, Texas, a Medicare Advantage dual complete, dual eligible plan that has $500 a month groceries. And what these guys do is they find that best one in the country and then they advertise it to the entire country. And then you call them from Homestead or Portland or, Bangor, Maine, or whatever the case may be. And you say, hey, I want that, $500 a month grocery card. And they say, do you live in Paris, Texas? And no. But then they got you on the phone. They got you all your information. They do the hard sell. And so, but those do exist. They do exist. Bella can attest. Those do exist, but it really depends on what's available in your area and what type of plan do you have. They're almost always better if you have a dual eligible plan. That means you have Medicare and Medicaid. So let's see. Hello, Dr. Ed. I got through Social Security in about a half hour. Awesome. Problem solved. And spoke with Mr. George and Miss Christine at the New Bedford, Mass office. Also told them about your site and YouTube to thank you. Oh, okay. Awesome. So you got your issues solved. All right. Good deal. New Bedford, Massachusetts is knocking out of the park. Good job, New Bedford. We always like to shout out to those offices that are under duress and still able to do a good job. So we like it. Terry, I will retire on Social Security at 67. I have a 45-year-old son who is on SSI. When I retire, will I get 100%? My wife get 50% and my son get 50%. Sounds possible. So let's start with your 100%. Yes, because you're going to file for benefits at your full retirement age. So you'll get 100% of your full benefit amount. Your son is on SSI. So if he was determined to be disabled before the age of 22, then yes, then when you file for your Social Security retirement benefits, you make sure you tell them that. Says, oh yeah, yes, I have a son. He's on SSI. Because he's on SSI, he is mandated to sign up for any other benefits if he's eligible for. So if he's eligible for retirement benefits, he has to sign up for it, and he may or may not lose his SSI. But usually when that happens, then his benefits on your record, even at 50%, is probably going to be more than his SSI. In terms of if he's getting Medicaid from the state, some states allow the Medicaid to continue. Well, all bets are off depending on what they vote for in Congress. But anyway, but in terms of your wife, if your wife is 62, yes, she can get, it depends on her age as well, she can get up to 50%. But there's also the child in care benefits. And you go onto my website there, click on the family, and then you go into child in care benefits, and it gives you what child in care benefits is. So if your wife is essentially staying home to take care of your son, then she, yes, could be eligible for child and care benefits, and you don't have to be 62 or 65 or anything like that. So yes, definitely. So again, when you file, you say, okay, benefits for my son and child and care benefits. Yep. And then your son, even though it depends when he was determined to be disabled. So because he's switching from SSI to SSDI essentially, and then he'll also be eligible for Medicare in 2 years. So that's always good. But they will have to go through the process to switch him from SSI and confirm he was in fact disabled before the age of 22. So it's a bureaucratic process that has to be done. But yeah. My insurance plan has crappy benefits, real crappy. Yeah. So if you got a Medicare insurance in October 15th, you can start changing those. You can reach out to chapter there. They can help you out. There are certain circumstances where you can change now. If you've moved, if you've lost Medicaid, all kinds of different variations. So you can reach out to chapter and see if you can switch that now. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, you can switch that any time of the year. You might have to go through health underwriting depending on your particular plan, or your particular state. But yeah. My birthday is on the 13th of the month. I've gotten my monthly check around the 1st of the month. It looks like I should be getting it on the 3rd Wednesday. Do I need, no, you get yours on the 3rd Wednesday. Yeah. Do I need to contact Social Security to change? Yeah, sometimes it depends whether you were grandfathered. Well, if you're getting on the 13th, you weren't grandfathered in. So you might have gotten benefits previously, and they usually take the previous issue date. But whatever the story is, no, you cannot change your pay date. You used to be able to. I've helped a lot of people change their pay date because they said, yeah, I can't wait till the 13th. I need to pay rent on the 1st, so I need my check. And we used to be able to do that, but now it's pretty much impossible. Yeah. Your site that you gave does not come up. Yeah, it's mygovexpert.com. Yep, I'm looking at it right now. Let me, I hope it's not down. Let me refresh. Yes, nope, it's up. So there it is. Let's see. But it's somebody sent me a YouTube comment a couple days ago, and they said, "Hey, when I go to your YouTube site, it says warning or something like that." It's because it's a brand new. It's all brand new. So that's probably why. So yeah. So, but it's all HTTPS, and so it's all secure and all that kind of stuff. It's just a brand new website. That's why. Hey, it's a brand new website. Suspicious. These brand new websites. So. I've had the website for a while, but the previous was just was shitty, terrible. Now, anyway, so all forms of cancer listed condition, and is bone cancer a diagnosis to add into being on Social Security disability for depression when person is diagnosed after being on SSDI for decades? If you are on Social Security disability for decades and you get some type of new diagnosis that prevents you from working, it doesn't really affect anything with Social Security. When you get your CDR, the continuing disability review, make sure you add that, but there's no use of adding it in there now because it doesn't increase your benefit amount or anything like that. So I filed for SSDI last year for carpal tunnel. I worked on my job for 28 years, had surgery on both, and now they are sending me for exams. Okay, so that's a consultative exam. So check out my website, and it gives you all the details about what a consultative exam is. It's basically that your medical records weren't sufficient enough for them to make a decision on your disability case. So they want you to see a Social Security contracted doctor. And so make sure you make that appointment and be honest. Tell them exactly, some people go there to these appointments and they try to be tough and stuff and try to downplay it. Says, oh yeah, I feel like crap all the time and I can't do this, but yeah, no, you just be honest. That's not the time to be tough. Be honest. My phone appointment for widow benefits is Friday. Is it stressful? No, done hundreds of thousands of them. So now just answer the questions. The info Social Security sent me only said have bank statement available. Hope to get enough to cover potential loss of Medicaid. Yeah. Wow. If you've lost Medicaid and you had a Medicare Advantage, remember, you've also lost your Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. So you need to switch to a regular plan. You can reach out to Chapter and they can see whether you do, in fact, because there's several levels of Medicaid depending on the state. So, but yeah, survivor benefits, super, super easy. The letter that you receive, it says, we need your bank account. So they've already got, if the person passed away in the United States, Social Security has already been notified of the passing. If you were married to the person or anything like that, then, they may, if it was a divorce type situation, they'll need your marriage certificate and divorce decree to prove the 10 years. If not, then they'll tell you exactly if they need any type of documentation, they'll let you know. So, but don't stress it. Super, super easy. Super, super easy. So it'll take forever for them to process. That's the issue nowadays. Yeah, you're on Medicaid. This is where people get hurt because, it's simple to process, but to actually get the first check, because Social Security is so understaffed right now and everything is chaotic. Yeah, it's going to take you longer than normal to get a check, probably. Hopefully you get it quickly, but tell them that, hey, here's the deal. Tell them at that time, says, hey, I'm not like the Secretary of Commerce's mother-in-law that can, hey, I don't need a check for a few months. No big deal. Tell them you need a check. Said you lost this and you're losing your Medicaid. And so, this is about paying the rent. So tell them that, and hopefully they can expedite that and get that to you quicker. I will be 64 in October. I would collect my Social Security now and just work part-time or less than $23K in the year, 2026. Will my retirement pension increase because I contributed? Yeah, on that last part of the question, yeah. If you're 77, 87, 97 years old and you continue to work and are paying the Social Security, then absolutely. You will, and that's one of your high 35 years, then your benefit will increase. That's 100% automatic. You don't have to do anything. So when Social Security gets the earnings for the previous year, they look at it and say, hey, this is one of the high 35 years. So they recalculate everything automatic. You get your benefits. So, Ed, we spoke before via phone call. You helped me tremendously. Great. Now I'm having issues with my back pay. It's been right around 5 months. I've called them several times at their command. Any advice? Okay. So yeah, this is probably, I stopped doing these, but actually we've got someone, Miss Jackson, who is worked for the Social Security Administration for a few decades. And if you look at my description, you want to talk to somebody one-on-one, you can talk to her. I used to do these one-on-one appointments. We do charge for that, pay for everything, but and she charges for that. But hey, you can call her up, schedule an appointment, and talk to her one-on-one about whatever. So for you, if you're waiting for your back pain, it's been 5 months, that's completely unsatisfactory. The next thing is to call your politician. Reach out to your senator, congressperson, whoever, go onto their website. They all have on their website, they have a little button there that says, I need help with a federal agency. You click on that button and you tell them your story, and that expedites everything. So, will everyone who has a dual complete plan be seriously affected by these changes? I certainly hope not. They're cutting $800 billion from Medicaid, because, hey, the rich people need more yachts. And, trickle down a few dollars in tax relief to the rest of us. But anyway, yeah, you can't cut $800 billion from Medicaid without it affecting, collateral damage to people that it wasn't targeted to. So it's, yeah, just reach out to your politician, tell them stop. I called Chapter and they helped me. All right, good deal, good deal. All right. Oh, another donation. I appreciate it. My wife died at 51. I plan to remarry at 60. Can I draw her benefit at 67, even if it's lower, and delay mine to 70, then draw mine? Yeah, if you're getting benefits and remarry, that's one issue. But I would definitely check at that time if you're eligible, because you never know. Life was what happens. But if so, technically for Social Security, if you're receiving survivor benefits, if you remarry before the age of 60, those benefits stop. If you're receiving survivor benefits and then you remarry after 60, then those benefits will continue, but you're not receiving benefits at all. You're looking at the future there. So I am leaving the country. I am receiving survivor benefits. I am selling my RV. Is this going to affect my benefit? I will not accept Medicare because I'm not coming back. Okay. Yeah, no, you're good. If you're a U.S. citizen, you can live anywhere in the world except for North Korea and Cuba. So, and you're receiving survivor benefits. So, yeah, you're good. You can live anywhere you want. Just, make sure you've got some type of situation where you can get your mail. That way, if anything comes from Social Security or something, then, and remember, a lot of people say, hey, I'm never coming back and stuff like that. And then a few years, a political situation, or you get sick or homesick or whatever the case may be, and you come back. And then if you decide to sign up for Medicare at that time, then you're going to be penalized 10% for every 12 months you didn't have Medicare. And you can't sign up until the general enrollment period, January, February, March. So take that into consideration. So, and then on my website, I'm doing a section on that because that is a very, where is it? Living overseas. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing a one on living overseas too, all the things to watch out for, because there's a lot of people, expats, that are living overseas. So I want to put together a resource for them. So, all right, we are over an hour, and unfortunately I ran out of time and got lots of questions, but we're out of time. So please share, like, subscribe, and please, please, please take care of each other. Y'all take care. Have an awesome night.